in the state of Delaware, for example, set up the coastal zone legislation, which means that they can't build any factories or anything within 1 mile of the estuary of the Delaware River and the Atlantic Ocean and the Chesapeake. And so the whole point of this is that we can do a lot to deal with endangered species. And one of the things I would like to raise is that we have to deal with this on an international basis as well. Because right now, for example, we have a thing, Brazil has the Amazon is burning because they're trying to clear the Amazon in order to make money in agriculture. What I'd be doing is organizing the entire world to say, stop now, stop doing that. We will pay you $20 billion no longer to do this because you have an opportunity to be able to make up for the loss of being able to have
Joe Biden hosts an embarrassing and blundering live stream. All the while, a Never Biden movement begins to pick up steam. We're going to take a look at the latest campaign fail of Joe Biden and why more and more Democrats are coming out and saying that there's simply no way they're going to be able to pull the lever for him. You're going to absolutely love it. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here. Wonderful to be with you as always. A super happy Saturday to all of you in the midst of our coronavirus quarantines. If this is your first time here, we post 2 videos a day analyzing current events in light of super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It'd be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel as we together celebrate the collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. Now, before we get into the latest Joe Biden campaign fail, make sure to download your free gift, which we put together just for you. We're calling it our Fake News Antidote. It is indeed a compilation of about 20 plus sites that I go to for my news each and every day, and you can download it completely free on the link down below in the pinned comment section. I think you're really going to enjoy it. We've had about 10,000 downloads. It's been wonderful. And finally, before we begin, gang, look, I want you, I'm serious about this. I want you to click on the link below and head over to my special website for My Patriot Food Supply with all the quarantines that are being enforced already, with the quarantines that are guaranteed to come, the shutting down of schools and all that, with all the pictures of the empty shelves that we're seeing as a result of this coronavirus. It's such a relief to know that we have such good friends over at My Patriot Food Supply. Gang, they're simply the best, and there's frankly never been a better time to stock up on an emergency food supply, and no one makes that more ridiculously easy and affordable as My Patriot Supply. Their food kits last up to 25 years in storage. They include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, and if you act now, you'll save 40% on a 2-week emergency food kit when you go to my special website by clicking on the link below. Now, if you're still looking to stock up on food and supplies, then you need to take action today. By clicking on the link below, save 40% off with your 2-week emergency food kit. I've got mine. Make sure you get yours, and let's take care of each other throughout this, all right? All right, gang, let's have a little fun here. Let's dive in. The Biden campaign continues to stumble and bumble its way towards the general election with cringeworthy moments of senility on display for all to see. The latest epic fail was Biden's digital town hall live stream that's widely being ridiculed as an abject disaster. It wasn't just the senility moments. There were plenty of those, for sure. You saw him walk off camera in mid-sentence. He's just babbling into his phone and blah, blah, blah. And he just wanders off camera, and his campaign doesn't know what to do, so they just put up this Biden 2020 logo to cover up the obvious moment of senility there. Then you had Biden not even knowing when he would be president, were he to be elected. Check it out.
Providing for the additional funding that would provide for no hidden bills, et cetera. And I can get it done. I can get it done quickly, and people would be covered. But even I can't do that for another a year between now and November, or actually January. But to be covered.
So Biden... I can't do that for another 2 years, or another year. Between now and November. Well, actually, it's January. 2 years, a year, November. This is what goes on in his head. And then, as if that weren't bad enough, the senility episodes were made even worse by a plague of technical difficulties.
No exceptions. That's why we're connecting virtually today. We're going to have to get better at the technical side of this. No president can promise prevent future outbreaks. But I can promise you that when I'm president, we will prepare better, respond better, recover better. Science. I'll listen to the experts. And
what do you even say to this? I mean, the incompetence is just beyond description. Now, while all this is going on, you have another problem for Biden surfacing, and that's the rise of what does appear to be a very viable Never Biden movement. Red states reporting that exit polls from Michigan indicate that only about 2 out of 5 Bernie supporters would vote for Biden were he to get the nomination, and another 4 out of 5 would be dissatisfied with Biden as the Democratic standard bearer. There are Never Biden Facebook pages surfacing, and in Twitter threads, activists are already strategizing that if they successfully reelect Trump, that would mean then that the Democrats would win in a landslide in the next midterms in 2022, and then they would be more likely to nominate a progressive like Bernie for the presidency in 2024. And so as part of that, Democrats are starting things like hashtag Never Biden. It's trending on Twitter. And we're seeing just the far left appearing more and more willing to sabotage Biden's election chances. The fact is, no matter how much the mainstream Marxist media tries to cover it up, Biden is an extremely weak candidate. There's a reason he did so poorly in New Hampshire, right? You remember that day back in February? This great white hope to restore the Obama golden age fell to an embarrassing 5th place in New Hampshire. No candidate for the presidential nomination has gotten 5th in New Hampshire and then went on to win the nomination, and for good reason. And it's because it's a sign that they're unelectable. And so we have to understand that the only reason why the establishment got behind Biden to give him the nomination is because of the rise of Sanders. Sanders rose to a prominence that made it look like he was going to run away with the nomination, and the Democratic establishment absolutely panicked. So they saw Warren fading, obviously. They saw Buttigieg going nowhere. They saw Klobuchar's having no chance in hell. So they went with Biden. And what appears to be the clear rationale here is that they would rather lose the general election while maintaining the establishment leadership with Biden than lose both with Bernie, right? So we've talked about this before. This is Rush Limbaugh's assessment. I think it's basically right. The Democrats have decided to go ahead and lose the general election with Biden, but win in terms of keeping the establishment in power. If Bernie ended up becoming the nominee, the Democrats realized that all bets were off. The nominee is the head of the party. The nominee is the president or the CEO of the corporation. And he or she gets to decide who occupies the leadership positions in that corporation. And Sanders has already made it quite clear that were he to get the nomination, Obama's people and Clinton's people would be out of the DNC. He would have a full-blown radical takeover of the Democrat Party. Remember, Sanders is not even a Democrat, right? He's an independent. He's a Marxist socialist. He's not a member of the Democrat establishment or party. Were he to get the nomination, he would be taking over the Democratic Party. And to make it even worse, to add insult to injury, most everyone predicts that he would implode the party. He would lead the party to absolute electoral ruin. And so the establishment, the Democrat establishment, the leadership hierarchy, they've decided that they would rather lose the general election with Biden while still holding on to the DNC establishment. They'd rather do that than lose both. So that's what explains the sudden love affair, I think, with Joe Biden, even though he's by every objective measure a very, very weak candidate. And so it's no wonder that we're now seeing Democrats and leftists coming out and saying, well, that's fine. He can have the nomination, but I'm not going to vote for him. That's why leftists are coming out and openly questioning Biden's mental health. This isn't just Trump or the right. Jill Stein is the latest. She's come out and said it's absolutely clear that Biden's team is doing everything they possibly can to keep him as sequestered from the press as possible, to keep him locked into teleprompters when he publicly speaks. They don't want any scrutiny of his mental health whatsoever. In fact, Jill Stein actually cited the hashtag that's trending on Twitter called hashtag Biden's cognitive decline. The leftists who host the Trop House podcast, they're openly declaring Biden to be senile. I mean, he's literally exemplifying all the signs of senility. And gang, these are leftist liberals talking this way. Can you imagine the political ads that the Trump campaign is going to be able to make when Democrats and leftists are saying these things about Biden. Now, you contrast this with Trump and how he's already smashing incumbent election records. We've done videos on this, but Trump is smashing literally every record for voter turnout for an incumbent candidate. So in the Michigan primary, more than 637,000 Michigan voters came out and voted for President Trump. Now, keep in mind, Trump's already got the nomination. They don't have to actually come out and vote for him, right? But that didn't stop nearly 640,000 Michigan voters from coming out and voting for their president. Now, just to put this in perspective, back in 2012, which was the last time an incumbent ran for re-election, that was Obama. Obama got 174,000 votes by comparison. So Trump got over 3 times the votes in Michigan that Obama got back in 2012, the last time an incumbent ran for re-election, and by the way, won. In Washington state, Trump got over 600,000 votes. Now again, by comparison, the declared winner of the state, which is now Joe Biden, it flipped from Bernie to Biden, he got just over 540,000. Now, this has been the pattern of these primaries. The pattern that we've seen throughout the primary process is that President Trump is utterly smashing incumbent voting records. In New Hampshire, Trump won the state with nearly 130,000 votes, just shy of 130,000. I think it was 129 something. The last time an incumbent won in New Hampshire, right, Obama back in 2012, his vote total was 49,000. I mean, everywhere Trump's name is on a ballot, he's absolutely smashing turnout records like never before. So we're finding that Trump is a presidential candidate like no other, and Biden, as it turns out, is an absolute dud. Now, before you go, you'll definitely want to check out my video on the largest state in Germany voting to ban migrants from entering their territory. The days of Angela Merkel and open borders are over. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.